Okay, people, are we live? Now, this is when we find out whether this is working. Let's have a look. Dun dun dun. Waiting for confirmation. If it's going to work. Do 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 do. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yay! And we are live. This is the first live broadcast. Apologies for the glasses and the reflection of the ring light in them, but otherwise I can't see anything. The Oscars. That was fun, wasn't it? It wasn't. It was boring. It was very, very dull. 95 times you would have thought that they would have been able to, I don't know, make it a little bit more exciting without violently attacking people. But I did a prediction video before the award ceremony, so there was no cheating on my part, and you'll get that in the results because I'm wrong quite a lot. It's very annoying when that happens. I'd like to say, I'll preempt this video, by the way, that you can get in the comments. Whee! I've got people see in the comments already. Thank you very much. I'm going to preempt this by saying that this is my first live. So if I say anything hideously offensive, or like legitimately upsetting, or even potentially upsetting, then firstly, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Secondly, I might have meant to. Thirdly, get in the comments and tell me what I've said wrong and why I'm wrong, and that way we can all grow together. Like humans should. We're not all perfect. I'm close, though. Let's get straight on with it. The first award that I tried to predict was the very tough category of Best Visual Effects. That was very difficult. I predicted, and I went a bit left field with this, I predicted Avatar, The Way of Water, and I don't know why I thought that. I think I just had this instinct within me that it might go to Avatar, Way of Water, and lo and behold, it went to Avatar, Way of Water. I guarantee you, I was probably the only one in any sweepstake going with that one. Next up was film editing. I predicted that Maverick was going to win film editing because, let's face it, Maverick should have won everything. Maverick did not win film editing. It went to everything everywhere all at once, which is fine. Nice to see people in the comments. We've got 4 people watching already for a first video. Mental. It went to everything everywhere all at once, and I'm not really too fast. That was a great movie. Should have gone to Maverick, but there's an agenda against the crews, as we all know. These white men getting it so tough. Costume design, I went for Elvis because it looked amazing and the costumes were phenomenal. However, the Academy didn't think so. They went for Black Panther. So, if you're one of those people that are saying that Marvel don't win anything, well, they won Best Costume Design. That's vital. Should have been Elvis. I predicted Elvis. It wasn't Elvis. Black Panther. Well done to them. Makeup and hair was up next. Now they put makeup and hair together. It's a little bit more of a tough category to call, but it was kind of always going to be The Whale, even though the backlash against the fat suit did kind of like garner some traction leading up to the award ceremony. I just realised what I haven't done. There you go. Whee, look at that. Which could have knocked it back, but ultimately did not, and possibly because Tom Hanks looked appalling in that movie and was pretty appalling in that movie, and also the mechanism of seeing it through Colonel Tom's eyes and then making Elvis look like the most lovely human being on the planet was a bit weird. It was like a movie done through the eyes of Elvis, but through the eyes of Colonel Tom. It was a good film. Just a bit meh. But I got that one right. I predicted The Whale, it went to The Whale. Look at me go. Production design, Babylon. I said because Brad Pitt has never been to an Oscars award ceremony in the last 15 years and not won. But he didn't win. It went to All Quiet on the Western Front, which is probably deserved because it was a better movie than Babylon, and it looked better than Babylon. So yeah, I was well wrong. And now we're going to go for a freaking full-on sweepstake here. Sound, I went for Maverick. And yes, Gav Rye, says, Elvis, the Dewey Cox story. That's a very funny line. Well done. I'm favouriting that. Thank you. Best sound, I went for Maverick. And it was Maverick, because Maverick should win everything. Should have won everything. Should continue. It should be nominated next year as well, because let's face it, there won't be a better movie out next year than Maverick. Cinematography, I went for All Quiet on the Western Front, because that was the only one that had a landscape in it, aside from Maverick, which was snubbed, which is a bit weird. And yes, All Quiet on the Western Front won. Look at me go! Original song. Now in the prediction video I did for that, I willed with all my might for it to be Hold My Hand. Unfortunately, it didn't go to Hold My Hand. My willing of Hold My Hand was not enough to push it over the line. It went to Natu Natu from RRR, which in the kind of like the group that I was in doing this, I did actually say Natu Natu. So maybe my lack of faith with Hold My Hand played part in its downfall. We will never know. Best score, All Quiet on the Western Front, because it's a war movie. So I predicted that would win, and yes, it won. That was easy as well. Short film, didn't see any of them, but I did see the trailer for An Irish Goodbye, and I wanted that to win, and it did win, and they all sung Happy Birthday, which was lovely. Wasn't that a nice, special, tame moment at the Oscars? Best documentary feature, I'd only seen one of them, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. That wasn't going to win. It was going to be Navalny, because everyone said it was going to be Navalny, and lo and behold, once again, I've used that twice now, it was Navalny. International feature is a daft category when you're only nominating one of the international features for best feature. It's obviously going to win best international feature if none of the others are up for best picture. I went for All Quiet on the Western Front because that was the one that was nominated for best picture, and it won. Close should have won. If you haven't seen Close, go out and see Close. Lovely little French movie. It's not actually that little. That sounded a bit patronising. Animated feature. What's happened to animated movies recently? They're not really that. I didn't see anything about Pinocchio apart from the fact that it was out briefly. But yeah, Pinocchio won because yeah, I predicted that and it won. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On should have won, because as I said in my predictions video, it's a much better title. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Adapted screenplay. This was a two-horse race, wasn't it, between All Quiet on the Western Front and Women Talking. I went for Women Talking, and the Academy agreed with me. They listened to me, and then they said, yeah, I think you're right, kid. And so Sarah Polley went and got it for adapted screenplay, or Sarah Polley's movie got it. Original screenplay, I went for Banshees of Inisherin. Didn't win. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but Banshees of Inisherin, well, I am actually, spoiler alert, didn't win anything. It was the best original screenplay, in my opinion, aside from the one that won, which was Everything Everywhere All at Once. Talking about originality, that was quite something. So yeah, got that one wrong. Supporting actress, Jamie Lee Curtis is what I predicted, and Jamie Lee Curtis is who won. Probably because she's never going to win again, and she's been around a long time. And you know, they kind of do that quite a lot. Supporting actor, another person that's been around a while but not working. Ke Huy Quan is who I predicted to win, and Ke Huy Quan is the one who won. He was excellent in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it's very nice to see him hug Harrison Ford. Even though Harrison Ford now comes across as a bit of a grumpy old man, it was that sweet moment where we could look back at the 80s and remember Harrison Ford being, well, quite charming. Best actor. That was maybe a three-horse race between Colin Farrell, Brendan Fraser and Austin Butler. Thankfully, we didn't have to hear Austin Butler accept an award in that daft voice. It went to Brendan Fraser. I mean, was it the best performance of the year by a male or by a person in a male role? No, it wasn't. But it's nice to see Brendan Fraser get some sort of redemption for the way that Hollywood has treated him. What I didn't like is the way that he got up on stage and immediately forgot, apparently, all of the horrible things that the Academy had done to him and just went around applauding them. Seemed a bit weird. Each their own, forgive and forget, move on, as they say. Best Actress. I'm really happy I got this wrong. I thought it would go to Cate Blanchett for Tar. Did not go to Cate Blanchett for Tar. It went to Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. They are winning everything everywhere. It was a better performance. Cate Blanchett was a very... Now, it's going to sound... This is kind of like mildly snobby of me, or reverse snobbery, to call it a very Guardian reader kind of like performance and indeed film. But it was just so dull. It was so boring. There was no purpose to it. It was broken all the way through. I didn't understand the appeal of it. I didn't even know who Tar was before this movie, and I don't really care now. Best Director. I said it would be the two Dans. And it was the two Dans, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. Still haven't researched how to say that. The two Dans won it for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and by golly gosh, they deserved it. Best Picture, the big one. I thought it would go to Everything Everywhere All at Once. So did the rest of the world, and so did the Academy. And there we have it. That was it. I managed to score 16 out of 21. 5 off, which is relatively quite good. Oh, I'm getting it from the wife at the moment. I insulted somebody on her laminated list, and I shouldn't do that. So Austin Butler, I take back everything negative that I've ever said against you. You are a phenomenal actor, and you're a chameleon. You definitely don't need to immerse yourself in a role that you can never shake off in order to portray a part. He seems like a very nice young man. So that was the Oscars, the predictions versus the results. I wanted to talk a little bit about some other things in the Oscars that came to be spoken about, being that there was nothing else to really speak about. No one was hitting anyone. No one was giving the wrong award to the wrong people. No one was singing a song about boobs. What happened? That was like, what, 12 years ago? How long ago was that god-awful Seth MacFarlane moment? I don't know. Somebody let me know in the comments. But to think that was how we behaved then, that's really, really weird. So there is some hope when we come to addressing the next topic, which the women snubbed. No women nominated for Best Director this year, which is a bit weird, seeing as Sarah Polley was nominated in Best Adapted Screenplay and for Best Film. You would think that she might be able to kind of like bring in a nomination, just specifically talking about her, bring in a nomination for Best Director. Now, whilst it wasn't the most incredibly directed movie, it was solid. It was it was better than Tar, in my opinion, and it was as good as The Fabelmans. I mean, The Fabelmans didn't really do anything magnificent. He had a nice story, but are you ever going to go and rewatch The Fabelmans? I don't think you will. Women Talking might actually have some legs to it, where I could quite happily watch that movie again with somebody that hadn't seen it. If somebody hadn't seen The Fabelmans, I'd go and watch it on your own. You might enjoy it. It happens and it goes past nicely. It uses up a bit of time, but not the behemoth of a movie that the Academy seems to want you to believe that it is. But yeah, Sarah Polley not getting nominated for Best Director was a shame. Other movies or other females that didn't receive a nomination. Gina Pierce Bythewood for Women King. I didn't see it, but apparently it was a powerful enough movie, possibly one of those superhero-y type movies or action-packed movies that the Academy don't really like to acknowledge. Chinoyi Chukwu, also for Till, wasn't nominated. Till kind of went completely under the radar, but Till, by all accounts, again, I haven't seen it, I'm very sorry, but by all accounts, it's kind of like a Tar movie. No one really went and watched Tar, but the minute it got nominated, people started watching it. So, Maria Schrader, for She Said. Now, again, not the greatest movie in the world. I mean, it's not anything on Spotlight or The Big Short or anything like that, but it's got an important message, one that the Academy should still be learning about, in my opinion, and the fact that it got completely ignored by absolutely everyone. I know, is that indicative of the fact that the Academy just like to pay lip service to issues surrounding females within Hollywood, and really when it comes down to doing anything about it, they don't care? And Charlotte Wells for Aftersun, which, out of all of those movies that I've just mentioned, and apart from Sarah Polley with Women Talking, that was a very interestingly directed movie. That was powerful. I mean, Paul Mescal got noticed, at least for a nomination for Best Actor. Surely Charlotte Wells was deserving of some sort of recognition. I mean, she did quite well in the, especially in the British award and the international award circuit. So to not be nominated here or even considered seems a bit daft to me. Now, what I will say in a caveat to all of this is that I understand that there is some weight behind the argument. Well, you don't want to. It's better to address the problem of women not being given the opportunity to direct movies that might be up for Best Director, and it's better to address the problem than it is to manipulate the result. So you don't want to put in somebody just because they are a woman. However, saying that, the playing field seems to be so freaking balanced the wrong way that something has to be done to address that. So you kind of do have to be a little bit more proactive with your decision making. For example, if, to use a football analogy, as any bloke would, if your team is deducted 20 points at the beginning of the season, you're going to find it very difficult to make up those 20 points and win the league. And then on top of that, the next year you probably fall even further behind because you won't have got enough points in either to even get to where you were last year, and you'll keep on falling further and further and further and further back unless something is done to readdress the balance, which means that you have to put in an extra bit of effort across the board. It doesn't seem like rocket science to me. If women aren't getting the opportunities to direct movies that would be warranting of awards, then you have to do something about that, in my opinion. It's a tough thing, but being that, as I said, 12 years ago we had Seth MacFarlane singing a song about which celebrities' breasts he'd seen in movies, you would think that we've come a bit further now for at least more women to be nominated, not just in Best Director field, but in all the other categories as well. Did you know that only 7 times women have been nominated, or 7 different women have been nominated for Best Director since the Academy began in 1921, 1926? 7 women. That's 8 times, because Jane Campion got nominated twice for The Piano, and of course for the one that she won with Power of the Dog. 8 nominations, 7 women, 3 wins in over 100 years. Forgive me for thinking that women can't be that bad at directing. That math don't add up, and they're not, by the way. So yeah, real 8 times, man. Come on, not good. What else would we like to talk about? Actually, speaking about, that's quite true. The major story regarding women at the Oscars. Well, yes. Wouldn't that be just the case? So yeah, we walk away talking about a woman's choice in fashion rather than the accolades that we should potentially be bestowing upon them. Yeah, this white dress, but I'm going to take these off. This white dress debacle, or not even debacle, but this conversation that we're having about somebody's choice in fashion seems, well, there was nothing else to talk about at these Oscars, I suppose. So maybe that's got something to do with it. Look, is it a bit of a daft dress to wear at a ceremony when you're sitting in front of people? Yes. Would you be annoyed sitting behind that dress? Yes, you probably would. Would a possibly more conservative, boring dress be more sensible to wear? Yes. All of those things are yes, yes. However, are you going to complain, rest in peace, but are you going to complain if you're sat next to Michael Clark Duncan or Andre the Giant? No, you're going to accept the fact that that's your seat and you're at the Oscars, watch it on the big screen. It's not like she was in the front row and it is tiered and you're going, like, she's way at the back. What do you want her to do? She's well dressed and everyone's talking about her. So Thames possibly did what she wanted to do. To ask her to not wear that dress whilst she's wearing it, well, I can imagine the Academy didn't really want to address that issue. But would it be a stifling of her cultural heritage to demand that she doesn't wear it? No, not in my opinion. But then again, was Lady Gaga ever called up for wearing bacon? No, she wasn't. A dress made of bacon. And also Lady Gaga wore that really weird diagonal thing that won so many. Nobody seemed to batter an eyelid with that. So there is a kind of like a bit of a hypocrisy there, but it's social media, isn't it? The only people really talking about it are people who are arguing with themselves, and they've already decided on their opinion towards it anyway. I'm saying that it's funny that this is a thing, and it's made a couple of nice memes, and has it started a conversation about a serious conversation about race and the way that we rate other people's cultures alongside our own? No, I don't believe it has. It's just nothing. What we've got somebody else in the comments saying, yeah, what about Florence Pugh's decision to wear her duvet to the Oscars? No one really went on about that either, and that was quite a sight as well. It's a boring conversation. Hopefully we've moved past it. She got changed for the after show ceremony, but I don't think that you can ask somebody to go and get changed in the toilets of the hotel because you might offend somebody who's not going to win an Oscar sitting behind you. I once went to the pub, reserved a table to watch the football. The table they had given me was in front of the TV, and I was wearing a hat. And the people behind me made me feel very uncomfortable and asked me to take my hat off. I did not want to take my hat off. Should I be always considerate of people that may end up sitting behind me, or may be behind me at some point? Well, that'd be like, going to a concert. When you book a ticket for a concert, people ask you what your height is so that they can tear you back, and so the tall people go to the back and the short people go to the front. Look, for pity's sake, life is unfair. Sometimes you end up sitting behind somebody that you can't see past. Wow, you're at the Oscars. You've clearly done something right. You're clearly doing all right with your life to be there to begin with. And who was she blocking? Maybe 2-3 people? Stand up, get up and move. It just seems absolutely bizarre. Yeah, you're not going to go to, like these people that are complaining, don't ever go to the Royal Ascot. Don't ever go to Cheltenham racecourse, because you're going to be stuck behind some redonkulous glass hats and headwear there. So, yeah, but predominantly white folk at Cheltenham and Ascot, so would we dare mention anything negative towards them? I don't think so. Was there anything else that we wanted to cover during this video? How long have we been live for? I appreciate that I've gabbled quite a lot through this. It's a bit nervy. It's the first one. I'll be better next time. Chill out. No, that is literally every single conversational topic that happened at this year's awards. Ke Huy Quan hugging Harrison Ford. Very nice. But Thames wearing a white dress that may or may not have obscured the view of some rich people behind her. That was a talking point. Irish Goodbye. Them singing happy birthday to their co-director or co-creator. That was very, very nice. You could argue that the pre-build up to the Oscars was a little bit xenophobic, culturally insensitive towards the Irish. The constant SNL jokes about drinking and the Irish accent being unintelligible seemed to be going a little bit far, especially being that Colin Farrell is very vocal about his sobriety and the fact that he doesn't drink anymore, and the constant ribbing of the fact that he was going to get drunk seemed a bit tasteless and, well, if anything, ignorant towards one of your guests. And Colin Farrell seems like a very nice man. There's that. There, somebody in the comments, Julia, I like that question. Thank you very much. That's going in the favourites. Was Angela Bassett right to visibly show her disappointment at not winning Best Supporting Actress? And was indeed not winning Best Supporting Actress indicative of a problem with race within the Academy? Or was it moreover, and in my opinion, possibly the discrediting of Marvel movies within the Academy? They don't really want Marvel movies to win. They need to acknowledge them now because they're basically keeping Hollywood alive by themselves. But they don't particularly seem to want to give out many accolades for them. I think the only superhero movie that's ever won anything of particular note was Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. And was that really a superhero movie? I suppose you've got Heath Ledger as the Joker as a posthumous award, but that's it. Two white men winning awards in a category. Wow, surprise. I think it's difficult to not show. In fairness, I think it's more, going back to Angela Bassett and her reaction of being visibly displeased. I think smiling and clapping is possibly less authentic than showing your actual emotions. So possibly have more respect. But I don't want to see somebody going, really? Oh, that's my brave face. I want that Joey and Friends moment of somebody being angry. That would have been something to talk about. I want Angela Bassett throwing her arms up and hurling things at the stage. Why don't we do that? We can walk on stage and slap people now. So why not throw a bit of popcorn at the stage? If you think that you should have won, show that you should have won. Like, be annoyed. We don't always have to take things utterly graciously. She looked disappointed. I'd probably be disappointed too if I was up for an Oscar and didn't win it. I mean, maybe it's got something to do with the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis appears to cut quite a divisive figure in Hollywood. A lot of people love her, but she also comes across as rather opinionated, rather forthright. Again, often things hurled at women for being that wouldn't get hurled at men, but causing, maybe she's had a run-in with Angela Bassett, and that's the one person that Angela Bassett didn't want to win. We all know that Hong Chow should have won anyway, so yeah, that was by far and away the best performance. Hong Chow in The Whale was better than all of the other ones, but Jamie Lee Curtis got it for, it was a relatively small part, but it is a supporting actor part. Speaking about women back at the Oscars, by the way, I was speaking to somebody before and they said, I don't really understand what the issue is, that loads of women were nominated for Oscars. It was only slightly delving into that conversation that I realised that they were talking about the Best Supporting Actress and the Best Best Actress category. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, that's not one to look at really, is it? You've got to nominate people who define themselves as females in female roles in order to have that category. So I don't think that counts. But we're not talking about abolishing the female actor categories. Well, not yet. Anyway, but yeah, when it comes to Best Director, they opened up Best Movies 10 years ago. We used to have 5 movies nominated for Best Movie. And 10 years ago, they opened that up to 10 movies to be nominated. And that was in order that they could cater to the blockbusters that were out there, the likes of the Marvels coming through, the likes of the Toy Story 3 or 4, whatever it was at the time, that wouldn't normally get into kind of like Apollo 5, but in Apollo 10 you can probably include them. And that was in order to make the live telecast more exciting for viewers, because they realised that people weren't watching the Oscars anymore, and they probably won't again next year. But surely, if that's the case, then we can do that for Best Director as well. We can open up Best Director to 10, and we can actively fight to include more women and more people of colour and more gender-based more people who aren't just your typical Steven Spielbergs again and again and again, and Martin McDonagh again and again and again. I'm not discrediting their work. I think they're most of the time, fully deserved with their nomination. But we have to do something about it to make it a little bit more fair, and to give opportunity to people that aren't getting the opportunity. It shouldn't have to be niche award ceremonies that acknowledge the successes of these people, whoever they may be. And I think we might wrap it up there for the first one. I'm going to try and do a few more of these later down the line. If you've got anything that you want me to talk about and have a conversation about, I'm going to get this set up even better than it is now. Then please do get in the comments and let me know whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this when it goes up after recording. Please do make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because the more subscribers I have, the more things I can do. And also give a like to the video, again, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it on repeat. I sound like Dave, as in the Dave channel, not my mate called Dave. Anyway, people who tuned in, thank you very much. I will see you again next time, where hopefully my thoughts will be more formed and my grammar will be better. Yeah. Laters.